the recording? It's recording. Okay. Okay, welcome to this ERSA video resource for World Youth Skills Day 2021, in which we are celebrating the resilience and creativity of young people throughout the course of the pandemic. Today is an opportunity to reflect on just how well young people have been withstanding the pressures of the past year, and to consider the skills which will be most important in helping them to thrive in a post-pandemic era. And so this morning we are talking to Sarah about youth skills and employment in a post-pandemic world. Sarah works as a young leader within the brand development team for Ethos, a collective of social entrepreneurs helping to support young people in today's world. And so, Sarah, I was wondering if we could start with you telling me a little bit more about the work that you do.
Yeah, sure. I joined Ethos back in February 2021 as part of the Kickstart scheme as a young leader. Ever since I joined, it's just been this constant experience of growing and learning and just gaining so much more confidence in the roles that I've been doing. So initially joined as part of the brand development team, which is a position that I'd never done before. Wow. And it was really helpful to just get a lot of support straight away, help with what I was worried about. And within the second week of working with Ethos, I was facilitating brand sprints, which was a brand new concept to me. And they went really well. So that was a big boost very early on in working with Ethos. And from there, I've just grown to eventually now I'm working on a project that's my own, which Ethos have helped me to develop, which is sort of based around travel through reading. It's called Read Trip, and it's to do with how we can overcome the effects of isolation and also not being able to travel. So many people are being told right now that they have to self-isolate, stay at home. And what can you do? But you can read. Books are always there for you. And so at the moment, I'm focusing on building this community up of people and reaching out to authors, publishers, as well as bookshops and libraries we can work with to support them in their industries, but also to connect people while it's really difficult to connect with people physically.
That's brilliant. Such a great initiative as well. And it's not just because we talked a lot in these video chats that it's not just about finding roles like this. It's allowing people like you the time and the freedom to make your own projects and develop your own skills through your own initiative.
That's something I've definitely appreciated with Ethos, because I think I've had past experience working as a library assistant, and so being able to bring what I had experience with, which was running book clubs and organizing people and directing them towards books, into a new environment and seeing how that could develop further with a little bit of help and encouragement from the people I was working with. It's just been amazing to feel confident while also completely stepping out of my comfort zone.
So. Yeah, and that is a very fine balance, isn't it?
Yes, yeah, definitely.
I think that's where a good employer like Ethos comes into it, where they're not just throwing you in the deep end and letting you almost drown. They're actually supporting you while you do it.
You can feel the support every step of the way. It's a really a close-knit network, because you get a lot of your own agency. You can decide what you're working on. You can quite clearly choose your own path with Ethos, but you never feel like you're on your own with it. There's always someone there to support you, and always the option to reach out if you're not quite sure where you should go next. And that's something I've really appreciated right from the beginning to now.
That's excellent. So they're the kind of skills you're kind of looking to acquire through the role, is developing your own projects and things like that.
Yes, I've learned so many skills while working here, and there's so many skills that I've realized through working that I need to develop further. There's things like I'd really love to be able to improve on video editing and video filming, to be honest. And there's people here who can help me with those kind of things, and that's amazing. I've also recently, as Read Trip's been developing more, I've actually been involved a little bit on website development, which is something I've never looked at personally. And I'm finding it so interesting to see how it all works behind the scenes. So it's really awakened a lot of new interests in me, while also building on skills that I've had before, such as facilitation of events and things like that.
That's great. Yeah, because one of my questions was about future career hopes, but is it almost opening different possibilities for your future career?
Absolutely. This is not something that I ever thought could be a career. I always just had this impression that reading was just my hobby, something that I love doing. And Ethos are making me see how I can turn a passion into something that I end up working with, which I love that idea. I've really appreciated as well about being able to work from home and having a flexible working schedule. That has completely changed my outlook on what I would like in a future career now, knowing that that's an option and seeing how it's affected my personal home life. I just think that's where I want to head in the future, and also having meaningful work, something which directly affects people, feels like it's making a difference. That's now where I'm aiming very clearly, and Ethos have helped me find that.
That's great. Yeah, I talked to Charlotte about the idea of, sometimes you do things you do certain jobs that make you realize you don't want to do that job and makes you want to do something else. And sometimes a job like this comes up that makes you see that this is really what I want to do. So that's fantastic.
Exactly. Yeah, it has been just like that.
That's great. Again, beyond your own kind of experiences, what skills do you think will be most important for young people in like a post-pandemic era in general?
It's a big question, isn't it? I think
it's a very big question. Sorry.
No, there's so many skills and lots of things that I have no experience in whatsoever, which are very valuable. But what I've found helpful, organizational skills and self-discipline, which is more of a quality than a skill, but I think it doubles up as both, really. Being able to motivate yourself to get on with the task at hand, because working from home, that's actually been harder than working in a physical workplace environment. And also, funnily enough, when I thought about this question before coming on, what came to my mind was a sense of adventure, or maybe a willingness to step outside your comfort zone and try something new. Because I think that right now, especially, we've seen a total change in the working landscape, really, of the world. And careers are just constantly changing. So young people need to be adaptable. They need to try new things and not be afraid to try something that they've never tried before. And yeah, they might hate it, but they also might really love it, and find a new passion there. So I think just being willing to try something they haven't tried before and get creative with it. Yeah.
That's great. And you answered another question as well, which is, what advice would you give to young people?
Oh, did I? Sorry.
Yeah, 2 in 1. And what would your message going to be to policymakers and government decision makers to support kind of young people and youth development right now?
I think that young people have so much to offer in the workplace. They have so much they can give, and that valuing their input and involvement and encouraging that from them is really important. And I think the workplaces have a lot to gain from doing that. From what I've seen, the initiatives out there at the moment, such as the Kickstart scheme, they're really valuable because it's just making such a difference to every young person who suddenly has a viable and attainable work opportunity to be able to do that and to be able to grow and develop their own employability skills and their own passions, rather than, in contrast, they could be at home receiving benefits and not experiencing everything that they could be in a position if it was made available to them. So I see schemes like that, and I think that's really good, getting people into positions which they can grow and learn from.
Yeah, we've talked a lot in these about, it's finding work and then helping them to thrive in work as well, and it's part and parcel of that approach, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's very true. I've seen that with Ethos, is that they pay attention to all of their employees, and constantly are asking for feedback and honest feedback, which I've really appreciated. And they really want to hear what your experience is and what you're struggling with as well, and get that honestly, so then they can help you. And I've never been in a company before that has something called a value recognition, which is every single month they recognize your value as an employee or someone who's working there. And I just think that that's really lovely, because you come together, you realize what you've done well. You hear it from other people, not just yourself, which makes a huge difference to know, oh, that actually impacted someone else positively as well. And then you can see where to go from the next month's time. And I've really appreciated that. And I think that's something that a lot more workplaces could benefit from.
Yeah, you're building confidence in yourself, but also you're building confidence by other people, kind of giving you that recognition.
Definitely. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, thanks again for talking with me. It's been fantastic.
Well, thank you for the time.
Yeah, and for those of you listening and watching, I hope you enjoyed it. Okay, bye.